past 6 months, I've explored Google for my life as much as possible. But you might be wondering, why the hell would you do this? Isn't Google great? And I would agree. There are tons of convenient services like Gmail, Google Drive, Chrome, and the search engine, and they're also free. But that's the thing, the reason that these services are actually free in the first place is because Google makes its money through advertisements. Over 77% of Google's revenue actually comes from ads, meaning that they collect tons of data about you and how you use their service, which is terrible for online privacy in the first place. Your personal data is also further used to train machine learning models to serve you hyper-personalized ads, which is kind of creepy. For example, Google was exposed for still tracking you in incognito mode in Chrome, which is very tragic for the Gooners, by the way, and also tracked user locations even when location history was actually disabled in their Gmail account. The company has also faced scrutiny for scanning the contents of emails in Gmail with a personalized ad until 2017. Google also actively still scans Google Drive, supposedly detect David content, but still a little bit weird. If you care about your online privacy and not being tracked, Google is unfortunately an enemy to you, and Google also just hand over information to law enforcement if requested. So yeah. Now that I've explained why I actually moved from Google services because I became more privacy conscious, here's actually how I switched to different services in the first place. I decided to replace Chrome with Firefox and the search engine to DuckDuckGo as a much more privacy respecting, and they don't harvest or sell your personal data. DuckDuckGo still shows ads, but they're more anonymized and based off what you actually search, not your data. For Gmail, I still use it because I have a YouTube account, so you need Gmail for that. But for my personal business, I switched to Proton Mail, a Swiss email server that plays on to track or profile based on the contents of your emails. For cloud storage, I replaced my personal Google Drive with Filen, which is end-to-end encrypted unlike Google Drive, and also you can get 50 GB for free if you invite 3 other people, so that's one hell of a deal compared to Google Drive's free tier, which is only I think 15 gigabytes as well. For personal routing, I switched from Google Docs to Microsoft Office. I have a 2019 license, and I use the app called ONL Shut Up 10++, which is a very crazy name to disable all the Microsoft telemetry to be good with that. And lastly, I switched from using Google Tasks to just still using a physical notebook to keep up with my assignments and tasks. Very nice journaling, I must say that. The truth is though, I can't totally escape Google in the first place. For example, my high school still used Google Drive for online assignments, and also I have a Gmail account for my school. So I'm stuck with that. I can't replace that. And I also still use Google Maps because it's the most reliable map service out there, and I don't want to compromise on navigation so far. I don't want to end up a river or something. So yeah. I also obviously still YouTube, don't need to elaborate on that. But I just want to say one thing, it's very easy to fall into a privacy rabbit hole. But as long as you take actionable steps, you can still make a difference on how much information is, being tracked about you. And also consider your threat model in the first place. I'm pretty sure y'all aren't like Edward Snowden, who needs to have crazy stuff Tor, VPNs, all of that, mobile browser. If you're like me, you can be more chill. You don't have to do as much. And also if you're an activist in a repressive country, this is not good advice. You gotta go above and beyond for that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, peace out.